going on, guys? Appreciate you tuning in. Got a few things that I want to talk about today. Mostly, what's going on with college football? We are in May, and there are some interesting developments that are happening right now because of the SEC. Now, when it comes to pretty much college athletics right now, whoever's got the money makes the rules, and the SEC has the biggest TV deals. There's the most money moving around there. Typically, what they say that they want to have happen, it's probably going to happen. If they get the Big Ten to back them, you can basically guarantee that it's going to happen. And so they're having their summer meetings right now, and coaches are all from the SEC are talking about kind of things that they kind of want to see implemented, kind of changes and stuff that they would like. And there's a lot of interesting stuff where initially, there's some talk about them trying to get further distanced away from the NCAA, kind of have more autonomy with everything that's going on. Not terribly surprised that they would want more power and more control what's going on. But the big takeaway today, and the big thing that everyone's talking about, is changing the portal window period. So as it stands right now, there are two different portal periods where players can hop into the portal, field their offers, try and go to different schools, see what happens. And one of them's right there in December. And then one of them's right at the end of spring ball. Now, this is an interesting move. They want Kirby Smart, Georgia's head coach, national champion. A lot of weight behind him, a lot of weight in that program, a lot of money in that program. Made it pretty clear, as well as a lot of the other SC coaches, that they want one transfer portal period, and they prefer it to be the one that's kind of there in the spring. I, for one, really hope that happens, because right now it is the absolute Wild West, and it is really tough watching what's kind of happening right now in college football. For every team, mostly, that's not into the college football playoffs, and even some of the ways that it affects teams that are in the college football playoffs. Let me explain. Right now, bowl games that are not in the college football playoffs are beyond unwatchable. They're horrendous. We had teams pulling out of bowl games because they didn't have enough players to go out and play because so many of their players had hit the transfer portal. It is a massive problem. Now, granted, for all of eternity of college football until the last 2 years, programs, NCAA, everyone but the players had all the power. And it is just now switching hands, so it's not that surprising that the coaches and the administrators and everyone wants kind of the control back because the players have so much of it right now. There needs to be a happy medium. The pendulum needs to settle somewhere in the middle because it's not good how much power the players have because it's ruining a lot of the product, a lot of the charm of college football. You have so many players switching teams and jumping in the portal and leaving that, again, for some of those teams that aren't making the NCAA tournament, that aren't making the college football playoff, if you just make a bowl game, you're losing a bunch of players because they're going to strike when the iron's hot. That's their opportunity to go out there and get money and get paid. A lot of them are doing it. So then their team goes for these playoff games and they don't have the pieces they need. 2 years ago, I was covering an Oklahoma State team that had lost all of the quarterbacks that they had going into a bowl game. And so they ran like a wildcat formation against Wisconsin the entire time. And that was right over there, right here in Phoenix. So, fans that had a chance to go see that game know how awful and how rough it is to watch what is happening to some of these programs. I don't blame the players. If there's the opportunity to jump in there, sure, that's when your chances to make your money. Now, that's for all of the teams that didn't make the playoffs. Arizona State didn't have that problem last year. They were in there. But it also runs other problems for you. You still have to try and recruit and still have to try and fill out your roster. So ASU is looking at everyone in the portal and trying to figure out what guys fit their mix, what guys they should try and go after and get. what guys they think maybe they're going to lose in the spring portal, who they're going to try and replace that aren't necessarily graduates or go into the league. Oh, by the way, we still have to try and get ready for Texas. Still have to scout to see kind of what we're going to be expecting in that game. That's outrageous. Your only focus should be on trying to win a national title right then, but the coaches have to look at who's in the portal and kind of what moves and who they can go get and how much money they have to spend and a million other things that right in the middle of the season are not what you want to be doing. It's not the place for that, and it's detracting from the product and from the essence of college football. So that winter portal period is awful. The timing of when it hits is awful. So I completely agree with Kirby Smart that if nothing else, if you still wanted 2 portal periods, maybe you put one there in January, maybe you put one, I don't know, in July, something like that, so that after spring ball, they can, if they still don't like where they are, players can then kind of go and hit the portal. I think one is fine if it's right there in spring ball. That way, at least there's some clarity on these rosters, some clarity on who's going where, and it's after the season, so everyone can have their focus on building the best team for the next season. Is it going to happen? Again, who's got the money makes the rules. There's a lot of money over there in the SEC. If they get the Big Ten to back them, probably going to happen. They're already pushing, for the college football playoff expansion, and they want to look at having set number of teams from their conferences, which seems like a wild thing to do. I don't know why that would be the plan when in every other sport ever that would be outrageous to kind of ask for. You just say take the best teams regardless of what's going on. But they have enough power that they can say, no, if we're going to do this with a 16-team college football playoffs, I want to guarantee that 4 of them are from the SEC at least. They have that kind of power, and it's being seriously considered, and it's being looking like that could be a thing. So when they say that this portal might change, pay attention, because that's going to make a big difference, and it'll swing some of the power. It might be the first piece in the last 3 years, because everything, and I mean everything with this NIL has swung towards the players. It'd be the first time that something got tugged back in the other direction. And now it would be how much ground can programs take back that the players grabbed. The NIL needs to be worked out. It is literally name, image, likeness. You're supposed to be getting paid off of who you look like and signing and your name and your brand. Instead, it's turned into, hey, let's make a shell and have all of our alumni dump money into that, and then we'll use that to go buy players. That's not what it was supposed to be intended for at all, but there's no regulation on it. That needs some serious reworking. And there needs to be a level that keeps athletes, entices them to stay at their schools, because the way that it is now is wild. Did you know that every single first-team all-conference player in the Sun Belt hit the transfer portal? They're not having one all-conference player come back next year. It's a problem, a big problem. I don't know if it'll happen because, again, it just feels like every case and every bit of power has swung to the players. So just because they say that they want that to happen, who makes those decisions on when the portal is going to change? Essentially, the college football playoff committee has kind of tried to get out of the way, and just because there's so many lawsuits and everything going on that they've just said hey, all right, yep, we're just do this now. We're just going to do this now. And all those changes have been in favor of players who have been suing kind of everything that's been going on. It just feels right. The winter portal period is horrible for college football. It drastically affects every single team that doesn't make the college football playoffs, and then it kind of affects it, or just affects teams that are in the college football playoffs. And it's not good for any one of those teams. It's not good for the TV product. It's not good for the game. The only thing it's good for are some of those players. Some, because there are a few that think they're going to get paid and go to the portal and then don't. And then you're left on the outside looking in. But there also needs to be some regulation on kind of where the money's going with NIL too, because you look at what happened with Arkansas, that first spring period or that first spring portal. They bring in a kid, give him money, pay for him, and then in the second portal period, he hops out and goes to UCLA and leaves and still has that money. And it's not like it's a contract, so it's not like he's obligated to give it back. But they paid him to come there for a few weeks of spring ball, expecting him to be one of their guys next year. Nothing they can do about it. That ain't right. I wouldn't want to do business with that kid again. But that's the way of college football. Without contracts in place saying that you have to play out a certain amount of time with a school, you're just giving them a bag and hoping that they respect a handshake deal. That ain't great. It's a lot of money to be giving 18-year-old kids, 19-year-old kids and thinking it's going to, work out for you. So keep your eye on that. Keep your eye on what's going on with the SEC. Keep your eye on if the Big Ten hops into it, because whatever those two conferences push for, more than likely is going to make some ground. And they are going to have their best interests at heart, not college football, certainly not ASU, but it's going to affect both of them. So monitor what's going on there, because they are making a lot of noise about making this a one portal thing, which in this case, that change, I think, would be a good thing for ASU. Not a great thing for their players, but I think it would be good for college football and good for the programs. So in a roundabout way, somewhat good for the players. It's just we have a hard time looking at it saying, like, that's my chance now to go get some money. But college football is supposed to be, more than that. And if they fix the NIL problem of schools just being able to pay guys money straight up, you wouldn't have that worry of people checking the portal. If they made NIL what NIL is supposed to be, where they can go out and make money off of their name in their own right, the portal periods wouldn't be a problem. But maybe this is a fix for it. Just keep your eye on that, because it's going to have an effect. If it does happen, it's going to have a big effect on ASU and every other college football team.